your paranormal research equipment and come with me through this exciting episode of the Horror Healing YouTube channel and the South Jersey Horror Podcast. Today, I have a wonderful guest, Desi Domo. Okay, first of all, do you go by Desiree or Desi?
Desi.
Desi? Okay, I'll
Yeah.
remember that. So, who you all know as the Suicide Maid from one of the most awesome franchises in the world, The Conjuring. What started it all, what caused the franchise to explode, yada yada yada. We all know this is a phenomenal franchise, but we're not talking about here today. We're here to talk to Desi about her role as a Suicide Maid. So please give a warm welcome and a round of applause to Desi. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you doing?
Yay. Thanks so much, Ben, for the warm welcome. I'm doing well. How about you?
I am doing fantastic. As gloomy as it is outside, I am ready for Halloween. I am stoked. My front yard is decorated. It looks like my fiance and I just farted Halloween in the front yard, and that's the way it looks. So
Oh, I'm jealous. I'm jealous that you even have a yard. I'm in Brooklyn, so I'm like, I don't even have a yard to go all out for Halloween with, but that's cool.
not a very big front lawn, but we first crammed everything we could, as much as we could, in our front yard to make it look awesome.
You gotta
I'll have to
cram it.
send you. I'll have to show you some pictures. Well, I'll email you some pictures of what it looks like at nighttime. It came out greater than we expected to. So we went on a huge shopping spree for decorations, and now it looks like a haunted farm, barnyard. I don't know what the fuck you want to call it. Just whatever it is. It's awesome. So
Sounds cool.
enough about me. I can't shut up. I'm sorry. Just tell me to shut up, and I'll stop talking. If you want to say something, because I will keep rambling on about this movie and your role in this movie, because I just can't shut up about horror. It drives my fiance crazy. See, there you go. I'm rambling again. God damn, Ben, shut up. Anyway, Daisy, please tell us, enlighten us with your background and how your acting career started, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I studied acting in school. That's what I majored in. I majored in theater, and I studied in North Carolina. I was at Davidson College. So when I left school, I stayed in the area for a bit, and I actually signed with an agent there in North Carolina. And at the time, it was kind of like what Atlanta is now. Like they were had huge sound stages. They were like, "This is going to be the net. It's like going to be New York, LA, and North Carolina." And so there were a lot of movies filming then. And pretty early on, like I think it was like within my first year, I got this audition for The Conjuring and originally read for a different role and then surprisingly booked this one, which was way more fun anyway, because I was like, oh, cool, I get to be a dead person. Yes, thank you. Um, and it's crazy. It's my first professional credit in my career. So it's kind of funny because it was like not much came before it. It was a
But
blast.
how did you prepare for this role? You saw the script, you read the script, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna be a dead person. I'll be a maid who commits suicide. How does someone prepare for that kind of role?
Well, I'll tell you this, first of all, when you play that small of a role, I think that was like an under five, meaning like under five lines, which is very funny because they ended up using like my one main line in the trailer, so it felt like a much bigger part than I anticipated. But normally when you audition for one of those roles, they don't give you the full script. So I didn't even have the context of the full story when I got the part. I didn't know that I was the first dead person that they see in the house. Um, I had no idea like the other characters. I just knew like who was in my scene with me. Um, but I mean, I think I knew that I was a maid from the 1920s. So role preparation went to, okay, behavior is this is a period piece for me only. Everyone else it's not. But for me, this is a period piece. I'm from the 1920s. I'm a maid. I'm not, so I'm like a lower status character. Um, and that just I think like thinking about you have to consider time, the time period when you take on any role. I mean, contemporary is pretty easy, but timing, geography, all these things can really change the context of a character and how you build that character. So, 1920s, it's like there's a kind of decorum and a formality that comes along with characters in that time, especially someone who's in a lower status serving kind of position. Um, so that's where my head went in preparation. I'm not sure if that came through with my scream though, and my one single line, but hope it did.
So let's analyze the situation. Okay, you play Suicide Maid, which I
Yeah,
think is a very significant role in the movie. Not many people believe it,
thank
but
you.
I do. I believe it's a not many people. Okay, well, I'm gonna tell you a fan theory here. I could be wrong. It's just something that popped on my head because I've seen this movie about 30 times because it's one of my favorite movies. So
Oh, nice.
the story behind the character is that she committed suicide by slitting her wrists while under the control of Bathsheba.
Yep.
So I think that's what set it off. Like, okay, you got this maid who slit her wrist, and then we didn't know why. So I guess later on in the movie, they figure out, okay, this ghost, this this spirit who can't cross over is being controlled by another entity, of course. And I think that's when they figured out, there's another more powerful evil spirit in the house. So they're not just dealing with one, dealing with two, like maybe three, or like a shit ton more. Who knows? But they know. Then that's when they come later in the movie, they discover Bathsheba, and I think that's how they discover that is by running into your character and coming to that conclusion.
Yep.
Like I said, I could be wrong. I don't know. But did
No,
James
I think
Wan
you're
ever?
right because
Yeah,
I think you're right because like I said, I'm the very first person that they see in the house. At least that the what's his name's character sees in the house. Like I'm the one that convinces him, the detective, that oh, there's something going on here.
yeah,
Right.
and
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And I don't care what anyone says. They kiss my ass. That's my fan theory, and I'm sticking to it. So, so
I
did,
love
did
it.
did James Wan, the awesome director, did he ever elaborate more on how to help you develop that character, or was that just made up on your own?
No, that was all on my own. I met James the very day that we filmed on set. Like once I'd gone through hair and makeup, once I was brought to set, I met him minutes before shooting the scene, which is usually how it works for um, films like that when you're in that type of a role. But he was so kind and really familiar or just very outgoing and friendly. And we bonded about Cleveland because he was familiar with that's where I'm from, Cleveland, Ohio. He's familiar with that area. But no, he didn't really. He gave me just a lot of creative license and freedom to bring to the role whatever I wanted to bring to the role. I think his number one concern is this scary? Because it was the first major jump scene of the movie. So that's kind of what his focus was. And he was like, whatever you're doing behind that, great. I just want, I just want to make sure that comes through.
Well, the reason I asked is because about a year ago I spoke to Bob Adrian, who plays Bill Winkins in Conjuring 2.
Oh,
And
cool.
he was telling me like a little background story how James Wan helped him develop that character. So because Bob Adrian wanted to go one direction, but James Wan came in like in the middle of this film, in the middle of the scene, and changed and switched everything up on Bob. So he's like, okay,
Wow.
so I want you. He's like, don't be some gentle, spirit. Be an angry spirit with. And here's a ventilator. Here, this will help you look more scary. So,
Nice.
yeah,
That's fun. I mean, I can see him saying that. Like, I want you to be an angry spirit because I think that serves the genre of horror a lot better. And it
yeah.
just serves the arc usually of scary movies a lot better to be like someone who's like, I want something as opposed to like, I'm moping around, I'm a sad ghost. But I think I came in with that clear desire already because I was so desperate for the help from the people in the house, the living. Um, and even the line, like, look what she made me do. It's like, look, I'm literally showing you evidence right now. Like, believe me,
Yeah.
I'm saying this because I want to be believed. And it was just the character is just written very well because it's like this motive is just like built into very few lines. And it makes it very clear. It makes an actor's job very easy.
I don't know. When I first saw the movie, that scene scared the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
And
that's
I'm
what
not very,
everyone tells me. Is like I jump at that part.
I'm not easily scared, but that scene, I almost shit my pants. I'm not gonna lie. It was there. I felt I was prairie dogging so bad. I was like, okay, I gotta pause for a minute. So,
That's a new one. That's an honor to be
so
in the scene that, in the scene that, in the scene that 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 in the
So, so we all know this movie is tense. It's exciting. It's full of thrills and a bunch of paranormal crazy shit going on. Do you feel excited to be a part of such a phenomenal franchise?
Oh my God, yes. It really was such an honor. And I had no idea it was going to go on to have so many sequels and just this, Conjuring universe that it's created. Um yeah, it's really special. I feel like it's one of, even though I've worked a lot since then, it still remains like a credit that I hear from so many people about, like very often, just like, oh, The Conjuring, that was everything. Or that's one of my favorite movies, or that's my favorite. It's so many people's favorite horror movies. Um, so yeah, it was just really an honor to be a part of it. Yeah,
Another
I feel
thing,
grateful.
well, I was going to mention, it's also based on a true story. So,
Yeah.
it makes it more amazing. And just to be a part of that, in my opinion, I would do anything to be part of the Conjuring franchise. But I'm just a lonely guy who lives in New Jersey, has no fucking clue what's going on in the world, except I watch horror movies and go to conventions. So, have
Have
you ever thought
you
about doing?
been to the Warrens like museum or anything like that?
No, that is on my bucket list. I want to so bad.
Yeah. I'm very
And
curious about it too. I think I'm too scared to go, but I mean, I did do a lot of reading about the Warrens before doing the job, and I had not really known anything about them. So even just learning about that, like learning about these people who literally devoted their life to this, it was just it's such a unique horror film because it has that element of truth and
yeah,
bringing to the
and
screen real people. Yeah.
see, that's the kind of thing I want to do in my life. But I think my fiance, who I love very much, would probably wholeheartedly disagree with me and probably leave me if I ever tried doing that shit. So
Yeah,
she's in the horror, but
fair.
she's like now into more of like the Scream franchise. Like, oh God, really? I can't Scream. I'm sorry, I just can't do it. I mean, I've tried. We go to conventions. We spend a shit ton of money at conventions getting autographs. Speaking of conventions, have you ever thought about doing going to the convention circuit in your time off?
I would love to. That's never been something that was even on my radar. I mean, I don't know how you get involved in that,
Well,
but I would totally do that.
I happen to know a few people who run Monster Mania in Cherry Hill
Oh,
and in
nice.
Pennsylvania. Yeah, I know guys. I think is it Doug Hagen. I think his name is. Run. Just look at Monster Mania on Google Monster Mania, and see if you can get in. I'm pretty sure he would love to have you as a
Cool.
guest. He brings in new guests every year, which is great. So he doesn't recycle
That's
guests.
awesome.
He brings in new people every year. And it's one of the biggest conventions in the tri-state area, and they made millions off this thing. It's great. So
Wow.
the last one I went to, my fiance and I, we had the 3 day VIP pass, and we were there all 3 days because we just had such a blast. So
Wow.
yes,
That's really
I think
cool. Yeah, I've never been to conventions. I don't know much about the convention scene, but a friend of mine did just do he's an actor in Red Dead Redemption, the game, and he did a convention out west where he was doing that, signing autographs and stuff for like 3 or 4 days. And he said it was actually one of the most incredible experiences of his entire life. Like the range of people that he met and just how meaningful it ended up being. I was like, that's really cool. That's a unique experience.
and The Conjuring has a huge fan base as it is. So I think you'd be a smash at conventions. So
Love
I
to.
just check it out, Monster Mania, Google Monster Mania, and get in
Monster
touch with the
Mania.
coordinators because
Throw it on
I
my list.
recommend it. So yeah, I would do it. Anyway, if I digress, I'm sorry. So based on your IMDb profile, you starred in a lot of comic movies and shows. And so doing The Conjuring, was it like a change of pace or like a genre shock to you at all?
Well, it was funny because The Conjuring was my first professional credit. So it was actually before I got involved really on in my comedy journey. I did The Conjuring in North Carolina and then moved to New York shortly after. And once I had gotten to New York, that's when I started working with the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater, which is the long form improv and sketch comedy theater of Amy Poehler fame. Um, so my comedy journey hadn't really started yet. I will say it was a genre shock or somewhat of a culture shock because I really have I don't know much about horror movies, or I didn't until that point. I was always someone who was like, I am too scared to see scary movies. So it was very ironic the fact that my first professional credit was like, you're gonna be not only in just any horror movie, but like this one. Um, and then funnily enough, it really planted a seed for an appreciation for the genre of horror in me, and kind of gave me a better perspective, or I want to say not a tolerance because that sounds bad, but like a genuine curiosity about horror and appreciation for horror. Whereas before I was like, no, I cannot do it. I think because getting that behind the scenes experience and seeing how the sausage is made, it took some of the scariness away from it and allowed me to focus more on the incredible storytelling that a lot of horror movies, especially the Conjuring franchise, uh, feature.
Great, fantastic. That's awesome. I mean, yeah, to me, if I was like, for me, it was a huge change of pace for me for a while because for a while I was only just doing movie reviews on YouTube and in my podcast, and then like a year later, like fuck it, I'm gonna start interviewing actors and see what happens. So I understand where you're coming from,
Yeah.
you know, but on set, working with Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga and the rest of the can I say cast, um, what was the experience like working along with those alongside them? Was it a charged energy or just like laid back mellow kind of thing?
It was, first of all, so surreal because it was my first experience I had being on a set with actors of that caliber. And I remember walking after they took me from hair and makeup, we walked into the house, which was built inside this massive soundstage. Like they built an entire house within a soundstage. And we're in like the living room area of the house, and like Vera is just sitting there, and Patrick Wilson's like standing up, like pacing and doing his lines, and just like very casually, both each of them were like, "Oh, hi, Vera, Patrick." They were very warm, very sweet. Um, it was one of those like celebrities, they're just like us moments that I actually had for real in my life, rather than just like reading about in a magazine. Um,
Huh.
but they were really fantastic. And then the man who played Bathsheba was amazing. Like I mean, not like, it's not like he's a household name like Patrick and Vera, but a major role in the movie. And he was so kind and so funny because I'd go to the craft services table, on a break, and he would just be there in full like demon witch cost, like just looking terrifying, like eating chips and stuff. And it really was just this humbling kind of experience. Like, oh yeah, you're starring in this movie and you look so silly eating chips as this full scary dead witch. Um, but it was yeah, really really special getting to work with all of them. The cast was amazing.
I love it. I mean, I'm jealous of people who get to talk about this kind of stuff, and I can't experience it. And it sucks because I want to experience it so bad. It's like it's in my grasp, but I just can't seem to get to my goal, and it's so frustrating. So, so
Yeah, it was a special experience.
knowing the atmosphere this movie was supposed to be filmed in, were there any moments on set where you were actually scared, like, oh shit, something's gonna happen?
No, because I think it would have been different if we were filming in a historical location. Like that would have freaked me out. I think the fact that I this was something that was built by um incredible set designers and set makers. Um, the fact that we were in a soundstage that never really left my consciousness. It was also funny because I booked this, like I said, shortly after school. And so my mom was visiting me at the time, and she actually is the one who drove with me to Wilmington for the shoot. And so I knew the whole time that my mom was just in the front of the house. Like I think it's just kind of funny doing a job like this where you're like, my mom is over there. Like it wasn't scary at all. It was very chill. And then the other aspect of being on set is that there's a million people on set with you. Like I think that alone kind of eliminates the possibility of like, ooh, like spooky things might be happening, but just because you are surrounded by so many people, actors, crew, makeup, hair, like they're all there, which is so funny. We look at what ends up being on the screen, and it's an empty house. But if you were to just move like a millimeter outside of that camera shot, you'd see like a million people like crunched in the corner of the pantry, like waiting for me to say my line and run off. Um, so I think that energy eliminates the possibility of any like paranormal activity happening. Probably any ghost be like, no, this is too hectic. I don't want to make an appearance here. It's crazy. I wouldn't even get attention. Like, that's how it really feels. It's like there's too much. Um, but it was funny. I think it was scary for my mom actually because she she tells this story. She was waiting at the front of the house. She couldn't see what was happening. They wouldn't let her into the filming area, of course. And so she just kept hearing screaming happening like over and over, like blood curdling screams. And she's like, I heard about like 25. And she said it was really creepy, like listening to that for like 15 minutes straight. And when I came off set, she's like, who was that? And I was like, that was me. Like, what do you mean who was that? That was your daughter. I was the one who just screamed that many times. And I think that made her that made her laugh. She was like, oh, okay, that's less scary. But it was really funny.
That's great. I could never have my, if I was on a movie on set, I was filming, I would not be able to have my mom on set with me. I'm sorry. I would like literally, hey mom, give me a pizza, meatloaf, hey come on now. I would get in so much trouble. And then I said to James Wan, like, hey, get the fuck off my set, dude. I can't have you here. Get out. So sorry, mom.
Yeah,
I
it
love
was
you, but
funny time.
that's how I do it. So based based on the audience has said about this movie in the past, do you believe that this is a particularly effective horror movie?
What are we judging efficacy on?
Because
What are the metrics?
because some people don't like this movie. I'm like, and I think they're high on crack.
Really?
So yeah, I think that I say,
I
okay,
was
did you hit yourself in the head with a dumbbell or something? Because you know what, this is a really good movie. But yeah, I've seen people get like negative reviews and like 1 stars, 2 stars, and I just look at them like they're fucking crazy. So
That's so funny.
I
I think I've been sheltered from those perspectives because truly everyone, when they hear I've been in The Conjuring, they're like, it's the best one. Like really, like there's such a cult following and cult love for it. Um, I will say I'm probably not the best person to ask because every horror movie scares the shit out of me. I mean, truly, like I am so deeply disturbed, I think, by most horror movies. I will say that
huh,
there are some that scare me, but feel um like they rely on shock factor alone, if that makes
yeah,
sense, or they just rely on
yeah.
like gore alone. And The Conjuring, I think, has such a meaningful story behind it. It has a really great story arc. And it's clever, and there's so much more to it than just like what makes it scary. Um, so yeah, I think my judgment, I say it is definitely effective. It's highly effective.
I mean,
And it still also scared the shit out of me. Like I screamed at myself on screen, and I knew what was coming, and I still jumped fully in the theater when I
see
first
that
saw it.
right there, ladies and gentlemen, that right there is no, you did such an excellent job if you scare yourself in the movie. Just from watching yourself on screen. You know you did your job and you're fucking talented. That's your clue. All right. Learn from this lady, okay? If you can watch the movie and you scare your shit this because you start prairie dogging at this scene, you did a good job. Okay. So pat yourself on the back for
Thanks,
that one. Give yourself
Ben.
a high five. Do something. Go get yourself a fucking drink or something. Oh, Mai Tai. I don't know. Whatever ladies drink these days. I don't know what it is. But yeah. So
Thanks, Ben. I appreciate it.
effectively well done. So kiss my ass, you non-loving conjuring fuckers out there. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
you're here.
So a question I like to ask everybody is that if you could have acted as any other character in the movie, who would it be and why?
Oh man. I mean, I literally think it would be Bathsheba. That
Really?
sounds
Really?
insane. Yeah, I think that that would be the most challenging role for me to play. And there's a part of me that's like, I want to do it because of the challenge. I think like being anyone else in that house is not too much of a stretch for me, only because like I can relate so much to. Well, no, I'm already sorry. I'm thinking out loud here. The Warrens too. I think like playing the Warrens, that would be a unique experience. Like playing Lorraine, um, would be really interesting because it would it would require me to really delve into parts of myself that I don't think exist. Like, for example, a deep desire to actually like communicate with ghosts and like, you know, affect the world through like paranormal um, connection and negotiation and things that I'm like, fuck no, like I don't want to do any of that. Um, so that would be a fun acting challenge, actually. And also like keeping, I mean, I could never, you know, Vera Farmiga gets an A plus plus. But I think that I think doing a role like that in general is just really fun because you also want to keep that person really grounded and relatable. And not play them as like someone who, you know, kind of has these crazy beliefs that are causing them to pursue these crazy adventures. Um, it's a fun balance between groundedness and also like a willingness to believe in things that other people don't believe in, maybe for the most part. Or let's say like scientific literature is like, no, this isn't real. So that'd be fun. And then of course, like I think Bathsheba is like that's self-explanatory. I think for any actor, that is going to be a fun challenge. um, yeah,
Because if I were to work on that set, I think I would scare people on purpose just to see what kind of reaction they have. Like do a thump in the wall or they close slam a door, no one's watching. People's like, "Oh God, what the fuck was that?" I mean, so see, it's another reason I can't work on a set. I get fired the first 30 minutes. Okay, I can't do it.
yeah.
I used to work in a
I mean,
haunted
it would be
hayride. I know how
fun
to
to
scare
be.
people. So,
Yeah, it'd be fun. I mean, I did this a little bit just in my dead person makeup. It's kind of fun just to fuck with people when you look like a dead person, you know? I think also getting to be Bathsheba in that way would be fun too. Um, yeah, just scaring
but
people on set.
as for Ed and Lorraine Warren, the real ones, I can't imagine what the life insurance policies are like doing this kind of shit in real life. I mean, probably through the
No.
fucking roof. Their premiums were like $5,000 maybe, and they're like, they say, okay, is possession covered in their insurance? I gotta know. I mean, if they get possessed by a ghost, who is gonna? You can't take it to a hospital or urgent care or a
Yeah.
dentist. So it's like, come out there, demon! I'm gonna give you a, I'll give you a fucking root canal if you don't get the fuck out of there. No, you can't do that. So, I mean,
Yeah.
threaten the demon with a root canal. I guess because nobody likes a root canal. Just give a root canal. I hate root canals. Okay, I've gotten a couple and I can't stand them. So, exercise the
Understandably.
demon with a root canal. Um, if you could return to the franchise as any character, would you do it?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. No doubt. Um, Yeah, I mean, especially as a dead person. Like it's just really fun. It's a fun experience to get to do that. How often do you get to have that makeup and kind of be yeah, just cross that line into um the absurd or the fantastic. As an actor, that's just really fun. But also, it's just such a well-oiled machine and I feel like again, anytime you're involved in a project of that caliber and um, with that amount of talent all in one place, like sign me up. I don't care what the project is. I'm in.
Suicide May returns to the Conjuring 4.
Yeah.
Bring back the Suicide Maid. I want to know more about her. Okay, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What's her
Yeah.
story? I mean, if I need more than just 5 minutes, people. Okay, I need an actual backstory on these characters. Why is she in the house? Why is she being controlled by Bathsheba? Why did she kill herself? Why did Bathsheba make her kill her? I want to know. Give me the fucking details. Don't chew me like a mushroom. Okay, I hate being fed shit and left in the dark. Just give me some details. So
That'd be really fun to do like a period piece Conjuring. Like it's 1920s and it's like what the house was then.
absolutely, I agree. I mean, you hear that, James Wan? Get off your ass, go to your writers, and make it happen. Okay, and bring back Desi as a suicide maid, as more of a backstory than just 5 fucking lines. All right, let's do it. So, biggest influences. Who are your biggest influences, past and present?
Oh boy, that's a hard question. It's so big. Um,
You can just say past if you don't want to think about it. I was like past,
I don't want to think about it. It is one of those questions where I'm like, this is overwhelming. I gotta go think about everyone I know. Um, biggest influences. I mean, I'll say right off the top of the obvious biggest influence for me as a performer is Lucille Ball.
Oh, absolutely. God damn, I agree with you 110%. She's a great actress.
She's yeah, I mean, she's a legend. I watched I Love Lucy so much growing up and um more than just like as a comedian, but just as like a boss. I mean, she did things, at a time that I think was very, very hard for any woman in Hollywood to kind of do the things that she was doing and being the kind of initiator she was and creator she was and owner of her work that she was. And I just find her so inspiring creatively and just as a human being. But also her sense of humor and just her comic timing is, I mean, she set the bar. Watching an I Love Lucy episode is a masterclass, truly.
Absolutely, I agree. I couldn't agree more. So, as we're winding down, are there any upcoming projects that you will talk about and help get out to the world and say, "Hey, I'm doing this"?
Oh, that's a nice question. Well, I've been doing a lot of live comedy work in New York City. If anyone wants to come, I perform monthly with my team Rumple Teaser, which is a musical improv team. We improvise a full length, oh, I won't say a full length musical, an hour-long musical based on an audience suggestion for a title. Um, it's a total blast. I also just got back from the Edinburgh Fringe Festival where I was performing musical improv there as well with my team Baby Wants Candy and Shamilton, which is improvised Hamilton. Essentially, it would get like the name of any person in history or popular
Hamilton.
culture. And we do like a Hamilton style musical, like hip hop musical about that person. We give them the Hamilton treatment, and it was such a blast. And I'm doing that monthly here, also at UCB. Yeah, those are the most constant performing things that I do.
That's right. You were in Scotland, and I remember telling you, I'm super jealous because that's also my bucket list to go see the Highlands and the
Gotta
castles and all that
go.
shit. Yeah, so I'm a
Yeah,
big
you
okay.
gotta go. Also,
Aside
there's
from horror, I do
some
like
pretty
history.
good
So
ghost tours there.
yeah, I'm done checking them out. I'm
Yeah.
okay, honey, we're going to Scotland. Okay. Um, and aside from horror, I do like the occasional. I mean, I'm a history buff, so I do like learning about history and all that crap like that. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate you taking the time out. Yeah, you've been a wonderful guest. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Desi Domo, the suicide mate. And warning, if you have not seen The Conjuring, make sure you're wearing diapers so you don't prairie dog like I did, okay? Don't make it happen.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much. Thank
much.
you, Ben. This was a pleasure.
Yeah, absolute pleasure as